Don't let go of my hand. Maya said it so quietly that I almost missed her words beneath the rain. 5 minutes earlier, we had been laughing on a hiking trail. Now the path had vanished, darkness was closing around us, and somewhere beyond the trees, a river was getting louder. I had known Maya for 3 months, mostly through friendly waves across our apartment courtyard and brief conversations by the mailbox. She was the neighbor everyone noticed because she could make a grocery run feel like an adventure. She remembered birthdays, rescued stray cats, and somehow smiled even when the elevator broke. I had never imagined that one ordinary Saturday would leave me holding her hand in the middle of nowhere, terrified of losing her. Before we begin, if you enjoy emotional and inspiring stories like this, make sure to support the channel by liking this video, subscribing, and sharing your thoughts in the comments. Your support helps us bring more powerful stories of kindness, hope, and humanity. That morning, Maya knocked on my door carrying 2 paper cups of coffee. "You promised to show me that waterfall," she said. "Today I'm collecting." I laughed. "You remembered." "I remember everything people promise me." There was something in the way she said it that made me pause, but she quickly smiled and handed me a cup. We drove toward the hills, talking about work, childhood memories, and ridiculous neighbors. The weather report had promised clouds and a little rain. Neither of us expected a storm. Before we reached the trail, we stopped beside an old wooden sign describing the history of the forest. Maya read it aloud with exaggerated seriousness, then pointed toward a faded arrow. "Adventure this way. Trouble this way," I corrected. She grinned. "Same thing." At the time, I thought she was simply playful. Later, I understood that Maya used humor the way some people used umbrellas. Whenever life became uncomfortable, she lifted it above herself and pretended the rain could not reach her. The trail began easily. Pine trees lined both sides, and the air smelled clean and wet. Maya walked ahead, turning every few minutes to point out mushrooms, birds, and strange-shaped rocks. She had never been there before, but she acted like she owned the forest. Then the rain arrived. At first, it was gentle. 10 minutes later, it was pounding through the branches. "We should turn back," I said. Maya looked at the trail behind us. "Which way?" I stopped. The marker we had followed was gone. We searched for footprints, but the ground had become mud. I checked my phone. 1% battery. No signal. Maya tried hers. Dead. For the first time that day, her smile disappeared. "Okay," she whispered. "That's not ideal. We'll find the trail." "You sound very confident." "I'm pretending." She laughed, but it was nervous. As we walked deeper into the forest, she told me about the apartment building where she had grown up. She had moved often as a child because her parents chased temporary jobs. Every new neighborhood meant new schools, unfamiliar faces, and another promise that things would settle down soon. "They never did," she said. "So you learned to settle yourself?" She looked at me. "Exactly." That sentence stayed with me. We walked downhill, believing the trail would eventually meet the road. Instead, the trees thickened. Wind shook the branches. Water ran between our boots. Then I heard rushing water. "There's a river," I said. Maya grabbed my sleeve. "And if we follow it? It might lead somewhere. Or nowhere." We kept moving until the ground became steep. Maya slipped on wet leaves. I caught her arm, but she still fell to one knee. "Ouch. Are you hurt?" My pride. I offered my hand. She took it. Neither of us noticed that she didn't let go. Maya became surprisingly practical. She tied a bright scarf around a branch whenever we changed direction, hoping rescuers might find our route. She checked the sky whenever the clouds shifted. She even made me eat the last granola bar while insisting she wasn't hungry. "You're eating half," I said. "I'm not." "You are." "I'm being generous." "You're being stubborn." She smiled. "That too." We reached a clearing beside the river. Across the water stood an old wooden bridge, but several boards were missing. "We're not crossing that," I said. "Good," Maya replied. Because I was about to suggest something extremely stupid. We laughed, and for a moment, Fear loosened its grip. Then thunder cracked overhead. Maya looked toward the dark forest. My parents used to disappear for days when I was little. I stared at her. She shrugged. Not literally disappear. They worked constantly. I learned early not to expect anyone to come looking for me. Her voice sounded different now. That's why you remember everything people promise. Maybe. I squeezed her hand. I'll keep looking until we get home. She looked at me for several seconds. You always say things like that. Only when I mean them. We followed the river for another hour. The rain slowed, but darkness came quickly. We found a shallow rock shelter beneath an overhang and sat close together to stay warm. Maya pulled her knees toward her chest. I'm scared, she admitted. So am I. She smiled faintly. You're supposed to lie. I'm a terrible liar. She rested her head against my shoulder. Then stay scared with me. I nodded. We spent the night listening to the river. Before falling asleep, she noticed the scrape across my palm. You're bleeding. It's nothing. You always say that. Maybe I learned it from you. She tore a strip from her scarf and carefully wrapped my hand. If we get home, she whispered, call your sister. I stared at her. Why? Because I don't want you to spend years waiting for a perfect moment. I promised I would. At dawn, I woke to find Maya gone. For one horrible second, I thought she had wandered away. Then I heard her voice. Over here. She was standing near a narrow opening between rocks, waving frantically. Behind her was a maintenance road. We hurried toward it, but Maya was limping badly. I tried to support her, but she shook her head. I can walk. I know. Then why are you holding me? Because I want to. She looked down at our hands. Okay. That single word felt strangely important. We followed the tire tracks until we reached a small ranger station. A truck was parked outside. An elderly ranger named Thomas came running when he saw us. Where have you two been? Lost, I said. Thomas shook his head. Search teams were already being organized. You were lucky. Maya looked at me. No, she said softly. We were together. Thomas smiled. At the station, emergency workers gave us water and blankets while Thomas explained that the storm had washed away several trail markers. A search helicopter had already flown over the area, but thick trees had hidden the clearing. Maya listened quietly. Then she asked, would you have found us? Thomas smiled. Eventually. She looked at me. Eventually is a long time. Back at the parking area, emergency workers checked Maya's ankle and wrapped it. Her parents arrived an hour later. Her mother rushed toward her, crying, while her father stood frozen before finally embracing her. I stepped back. Maya noticed. She came toward me despite her bandaged ankle. You're leaving. You're with your family now. She shook her head. You don't understand. What? She held out her hand. I spent my whole life thinking being alone made me strong. Then yesterday, I realized strength can also mean trusting someone enough to hold on. I took her hand. She smiled through tears. Don't disappear after this. I wasn't planning to. A week later, I called my sister. We talked for 43 minutes. At the end, she cried. So did I. Maya never asked what we discussed. She only smiled when I returned home. Perfect moment, she asked. No. Good. Just the right one. She nodded. Months later, the trail reopened. Maya and I returned, this time with proper maps, extra batteries, and a ranger-approved route. We stopped beside the river where everything had changed. Maya looked at our joined hands. You know what's funny? What? I thought getting lost was the worst thing that could happen to me. And now? She leaned against my shoulder. Now I think getting lost was the reason I finally found what I was missing. I smiled. The forest was bright that afternoon. Sunlight moved through the leaves, and the river carried the sound of rushing water far into the valley. Maya squeezed my hand. Some people enter your life through grand entrances. Others simply knock on your door carrying coffee and asking you to keep a promise. You may not recognize the moment as important. You may think it is just another ordinary day. But sometimes, life changes quietly. Sometimes, the person who gets lost beside you becomes the person who helps you find your way. And sometimes, all it takes is one hand reaching for yours when both of you are afraid. If this story touched your heart, tell us in the comments, have you ever met someone unexpectedly who changed the direction of your life? Your experience might give hope to someone reading it today. And if this story reminded you that kindness, trust, and courage can appear in the most unexpected places, please like the video and subscribe for more inspiring stories about kindness, hope, courage, compassion, and humanity. Maya and I still disagree about who saved whom that day. She says I kept her safe. I say she taught me how to stop being afraid of needing someone. Maybe we were both right. Because sometimes, the greatest thing you can find after getting lost is not a road home. It is someone who refuses to let go.